Hi guys, it's Casey, and today I've got for you a book haul. So I'm pretty sure my last book haul was in March, so not even that long ago, and I told myself that I needed to slow down on the amount of books that I needed to buy. I didn't. I continued buying books at about my normal rate, and then this morning I actually went to a used bookstore and bought like 9 all in one go. So this haul is a pretty big mishmash of a bunch of different stuff, and it's pretty much in no good order, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So the first one, and I think only one of these that I've read so far, is The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince by Robin Hobb. So this is a novella that is part of her Greater Realm of the Elderling series. So this novella is a historical kind of account, almost folktale account of events that took place before the beginning of the first series. I wanted to go ahead and read this one before I started the Tawny Man trilogy because I know that this story of this princess and this prince is referenced repeatedly throughout that story. So I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I had read it, and I wanted to get it in the covers that matched, and I did, and I'm very happy about it. So the next book I have is I Hear the Sunspot by Yuki Fumino. I saw this book in a recommendations video about queer graphic novels, and I know that this book is a love story and it has deaf representation, and that's about all I know about it. I believe that video was Spoopy Hall's video, and I can link it down below, but I remember hearing her describe it and thinking, well, I have to own this immediately, and I did. I bought it as soon as I finished watching that video, and I'm really excited to get to this. The next book I got is Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. So this is a collection of short stories that all take place in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I got this one because one of the stories, Edge Dancer, is supposed to be read in between Words of Radiance and Oathbringer, which is where I'm at in the Stormlight Archive right now, but it has short stories from across the different Cosmere systems. So I'm going to probably work through this one slowly and read each story as it would kind of slot into the greater story, as opposed to sitting down and like reading this all in one chunk. But I have to say, this is a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be. I don't know why I'm surprised, but it looks like it's gonna fit up there with the rest of my Cosmere books, and I got it in the pretty white UK edition. I love finding these used online, it's great. You can really tell this haul is in no order because we're going back to an author we've already had. But the next book I have is Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb, and this is the first book of the Rainwild Chronicles, which is the 4th series in her Greater Realm of the Elderlings universe. So I don't know much about what this one's about, and again, the backs of these versions are kind of spoilery, so I'm not going to read it. But this, I believe, follows some characters that we met in the Live Ship Traders, but focuses primarily on a different group, and it follows some kind of story going on in the Rainwild and with the dragons coming back. That's about all I know. But I have absolutely been loving reading Robin Hobb, so I wanted to go ahead and start picking up the Rainwild Chronicles before I get there, especially since finding these editions can be kind of hard. I found this one for a great price. The next book I have is The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal. And this is a sci-fi book about a woman who is a physicist that's kind of working behind the scenes in the spaceflight program and ends up deciding that why can't she be one of the first female astronauts. And so this is about that story of her and a group of women becoming those lady astronauts. I've heard really good things about this one, and I know that a later book in this series is nominated for the Hugo Award this year, which might be why I picked it up. So I figured this was a good time to go ahead and get into it. It is interesting though, this printing that I got is like cut incorrectly, so like it should have been cut down here, but it's like slightly cut off at the top. Anyway, I think it's kind of cool. But pretty much everyone I've seen read this has really enjoyed it, so I am looking forward to it. Plus, I need more sci-fi in my life. Next, I got Malice by John Gwynne, and I'm gonna be honest with you, do I know what this is about? No, basically not at all. But I've seen a ton of people reading it and loving it. I know it is an epic adult fantasy series. It's huge. There are many books in it, and it's been getting really great reviews by a lot of people that I tend to line up with, and mostly I got this one because I wanted to be included in the hype around this book. So I guess that's about all I have to say on this one, other than I'm looking forward to reading it and I don't really know what it's about. There are several books in this haul that I don't have a lot to say about because I just kind of picked them up on a whim, and here we are, but this is one of them. I'm excited. The next book is a book that I actually pre-ordered, and that is The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, and this is the 4th book in the Wayfarers series. Now the first book, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, is pretty much my favorite book of all time, but despite that, I haven't actually continued on to read any other book in the series. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get to this one, but I wanted to make sure I had it because I absolutely adored that first book, and I'm very excited to continue on in this world, even though it's taken me over a year to actually do so. Next, I got Black Sun by Rebecca Rowan Horse. So this is a multi-perspective fantasy book that is set in a pre-Columbian America, and I don't know a huge amount about the plot. I do know that there is a countdown to this solar eclipse where there are some things that are prophesized to happen, and that there are some political maneuverings going on. That's about all I know about it, but this has been receiving some really interesting reviews. A lot of people have loved it, and the people that didn't, a lot of the critiques have been that it felt like a setup book or it felt a little bit slow. But I tend to like those kinds of books anyway. That's a critique that usually doesn't bother me, so I'm actually very interested in reading this. Plus it also might be nominated for a Hugo Award, just saying. The next two books I got are Descender Volume 1 and then today when I went to the used bookstore, Descender Volume 2. So this is a graphic novel series by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen about a world in the distant future in which all robots have been outlawed and this young android boy wakes up to kind of figure that out. And throughout this story he's being hunted by a variety of bounty hunters, and I've heard a lot of good things about this, and the art style looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really been wanting to get into more sci-fi lately as well as more graphic novels, so this seemed like a natural place to start, especially since I found the second one for so cheap. Oh, it looks so pretty. I just want to read it right now. Bleh. The next graphic novel I got was Rat Queens Volume 1. So I know that this one is essentially a D&D-esque Monster Hunter campaign type of situation with this group of women. And I've heard that it is graphic and violent and a rip-roaring good time, and I just really wanted to pick this one up. It seems like it's a really fun adventure story. I do like the art style, but I know that the artist changes partway through the series, so I'm not gonna get too attached to it, but I'm hoping I'm really gonna love the story. I've heard great things about these characters and this plot, and I'm just really excited to get to this. The next book I got because it just came out and I had it pre-ordered is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. So this is John Green's first non-fiction book, and I know that this is a series of essays in which he reviews different facets of the human-centered planet on a 5-star scale. So the Anthropocene Review started out as a podcast that I listened to a lot, and they were just basically essays where he would take one idea, for example, Diet Dr. Pepper or Canada Geese, and write about kind of the history of them and end up pulling out some kind of lesson or meaning from these concepts, and a lot of them have to relate back to his own life. So this is kind of semi-autobiographical essays. And I am so looking forward to reading this. That podcast is amazing. And I know that a lot of the essays that were in the podcast are in this as well, and that there are also new essays that are just for this. But look at these end papers. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy. This is one of my most anticipated releases, and it really kind of sparked me getting into nonfiction again. I'm just realizing I have actually a lot of nonfiction in this haul, so I'm actually gonna group all the nonfiction together at the end after I do like 2 more fiction books. So now we start getting into the books that I got at the used bookstore because they were really cheap and I was on a spending spree. But the next 2 books I got are actually both Mass Effect novels. So I got Mass Effect Revelation and Mass Effect Ascension. So here's the thing. Mass Effect is my favorite video game of all time and forever. And the remastered just came out. And I've been playing it constantly, and it's making me very behind on my May TBR, but we're not going to talk about it. But when I was in the used bookstore, I found these 2 for like less than $3 each, and I was like, yeah, why not? I have no idea if they're good, but I do know I love Mass Effect, and so I want to have read these books. I know that both of these take place before the events of the first games, and that Revelation is actually the story of Captain Anderson and Saren's mission together that got Anderson kind of disqualified from the Spectre program. So I know that that's what this one follows, and then this one is a sequel to that. I have no idea how it connects plot-wise, but there are apparently 4 Mass Effect books that are connected to the original trilogy, and then 3 that are connected to Andromeda. And so I'm probably gonna work on getting all of them and then just do a video where I read all of them, because are they gonna be good? I have no idea, but I'm excited. So the last fiction book I got for this haul is Ruin of Kings by Jeff Lyons. Oh, the ring light does not like this book. So I don't know a huge amount about this book. I know it was on my to-read list, and I found this beautiful hardcover for a relatively good price at the used bookstore. But after reading the inside flap, it looks like it is about a young boy who is a thief who eventually finds out that he's missing royalty and gets whisked away to the castle and gets caught up in ruthless court politics, which are some of my favorite tropes in fantasy, so I'm just very excited to read this book. And it also looks like he has decided to destroy the Empire from the inside out, and it just sounds like a very fun time to me, and I've heard a lot of good things about this series. And again, I found it for pretty cheap. Why not? Why not pick it up? That was my whole motto when I went shopping. Okay, so the next 6 are all nonfiction books, so I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly. But next I've got Packing for Mars by Mary Roach. So I've read Stiff by Mary Roach, which talks about kind of the uses for human cadavers. So this one is about things that kind of go on in preparing for and engaging in a mission to space. And I know that Mary Roach writes a lot of like pop science books that are really accessible and fun to read, so this is one that I was really excited to get to, and I have a lot of nonfiction books about space in this haul. So next I got Radium Girls by Kate Moore. I don't know a huge amount about this one, but I've heard a lot of people really enjoyed it. I know it is about, during the First World War, there's these group of women who worked in these radium dial factories and eventually start getting radium poisoning from it, and it turns out to be like a huge like scandal and problem for all of these women as they start getting really sick. And I don't know much about this one, I just know that a lot of people have seen it and loved it, and super cheap. Next, I got A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. I don't own this yet. I found it for $3 and decided to buy it. That's about all there is to it. I will read this someday, eventually. Oh no, the books are falling. Next, I got The Future of the Mind by Michio Kaku, who is a physicist, and this is a book about kind of the scientific quest to understand, enhance, and empower the mind. So this is a book about neuroscience and advancements in technology in that area, and I've just heard that this is really good, and I got it for one of my friends for his birthday, and ever since then I've wanted a copy. Found this hardcover, bought it immediately. That's all there is to it. The next book I got is A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. I don't know a huge amount about this. All I know is that it takes a huge look at everything from Big Bang to present, and I've heard that it's very entertaining and very accessible and a lot of fun to read, and I found it and bought it. That's it. That's the theme of this haul. And the last book I got for this haul is A History of Science Fiction by Adam Roberts. I was sitting around one day and decided that I wanted to read a book that talked about how science fiction media, books, movies, all of it, has developed across time. And I googled it for a while and I found this one, and I found this hardback for very cheap. And so this literally talks about the history of science fiction all the way back from the ancient novel to present, and I'm very intrigued by this. I'll probably read this like just chapters at a time and skip around. I probably won't sit down and read this actual literal textbook that I bought for fun. But that is it. Those are the 20 books that I got for this haul. That is entirely too many for me to have bought between March and now, but here we are. I'm very excited for a lot of these, and luckily a good chunk of them were nonfiction, so they can go on my shelf that still actually has some room. So I thought maybe I could stack these so I could hold them all up, but this is just sitting on my lap and it's already in frame, so let's try it. Ah, there you go. You got it for a sec. I've made some mistakes. Well, I can't put this down now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish out this video. That's all I've got for you guys today. If you want to keep up with what I'm reading, I have a link to my Goodreads down in the description below, but other than that, I'll see you guys next time.